And there we are. We are live, buddy. We're another Wednesday night show, and we got a lot to talk about. We had a lot to talk about before the TJ Finley news. So we're going to talk about TJ Finley and the transfer portal. We kind of knew it was coming. Started the day with all the rumors flying around that he was going to be there, and sure enough, it's heading in that direction. Headed in that direction. So we've got that to talk about. I'm sure a lot of you are going to have that to ask questions about in our chat tonight. And we usually go about 50, 55 minutes. And so we've got that. We've got Kim Mulkey making the rounds at the state capitol. We've got baseball news out there. Still the rumblings out there with what might happen at LSU baseball at the end of the year. Basketball recruiting, both with Will Wade and Kim Mulkey. And if you've been a subscriber to TigerBait, you're probably loving all of our premium recruiting updates on the website. And of course, we're brought to you by Pride Roofing. And much thanks to Mike Faraday and Alex Martinez for sponsoring us every week. I'm going to talk about them a little bit later in the show, but if you're checking us out live, please do me a favor, hit the like button, share this out to your Facebook feed, the other LSU groups. We want to get as many people in here as possible, and if you're an LSU fan, certainly most of your friends on Facebook are fans as well. Or if you're on YouTube, please, if you like our show, do us a favor. It helps the algorithm. Subscribe, hit the subscribe button first of all, and then hit the like button on there as well. So, welcome in, buddy.
Good to see you. Last week I had a date night. You know, we normally go out on Wednesdays and Fridays, and it is Cinco de Mayo, but we are regular patrons of Mexican food, and you and I both have talked about how much we love Mexican, but all of the wannabes go out with Cinco de Mayo, and so we don't ever go out on that particular night because it's just crazy. You can see I've gone by 3 or 4 Mexican places. It is wacko today, but happy Cinco de Mayo. I'm on my 4th water here today. Going to probably end up with about 6. Lots to talk about, and it's exciting. I mean, Kim Mulkey fever continues to just broaden the spectrum of kind of bringing back the magic. We said that with Jerry DiNardo, but it's not just her bringing back the magic with women's basketball. It's trying to move this cloud.
I knew you were going to do it.
Hey, thank you, Prime.
Go ahead, keep going.
But that's exactly what LSU is right now.
Yep.
It's a dumpster fire, and she is trying to move this big cloud over LSU. And I got to tell you, Mike, the legislature and all the people, everybody she's going into, Mulkey fever, Finley leaves, baseball, got to get 2 out of 3 this weekend against Auburn, and of course a bunch of other stuff. Beach volleyball in Gulf Shores this weekend. If you're at the beach, they're going to try to be as good as they were last year when they were the best team in the country, and a lot more. So I'm happy to be here, and but I disagree with one thing. We're going to go over an hour today, even if it's 1 hour and 1 minute. I'm going to get this guy to work over an hour, but you guys got to help me tonight.
Well, I tell you what, you brought up something just now, which is something that I picked up today, which you made a good point about. I was talking to a TAF guy today, and there's one thing we talked about on the show the last week and maybe the week before I might have touched on, or maybe definitely on your radio show. You know, there was a lot of talk and talking with Smoke from the Baylor site and those guys leading up to her getting officially hired at LSU, was that they were saying that the Baylor program was the loss leader at over $6 million annually. But, and I get it, but that doesn't tell us the whole story. And I don't know that they do her any favors, but I know there's some people there that will flat out tell you what a prolific fundraiser she is. And I'm told the amount of excitement and the phone calls that the Tiger Athletic Foundation has been getting, and the amount of people who have already, first of all, the deposits for season tickets, that goes into the main budget. But I think the untold story, and I think maybe, in the years to come, if she does hear what she did at Baylor, which I see no reason why she won't, maybe they ought to do her some favors and let people know what she does for the Tiger Athletic Foundation. Because I'm told she has no qualms about getting fat cats to get their checkbooks out. It's like Judge Smells, Rodney Dangerfield and Caddyshack, Moose Rocco helped the judge find his checkbook. That she's pretty darn good at it. So, I tell you what shows the excitement, and I haven't checked the page views, but both her and Will Wade got transfers on Saturday. Her news came about 3 or 4 hours earlier than his. But by Monday, the views for the basketball story, and we just used the release from LSU. That story still had 1,000 more page views than the men's story, Adam Miller transferring in from Illinois.
Yeah. Well,
So that tells you the excitement for LSU women's basketball right now. And it ain't people who were women's basketball fans over the years. And speaking of that, I watched earlier today, and I'm going to post it on my site. Jacques Doucet did one of his Jacques Talks on YouTube with Tamika Johnson. It was really good.
Yeah.
Y'all want to check that out? I'm gonna put it on the front page of TigerBait when I get off tonight. But that was really good. And so, she was kind of doing some of the things, talking about what Ed Orgeron did when he got the job about bringing former players back, and that's something that was missing under Nikki Fargas. So, she just lights up a room. The it factor, watching her go through the state capitol. I mean, it was like the Queen of England.
Well, I very early said that there was a parallel with Nick Saban, and Nick Saban came to LSU. He's 49 years old, but he had never won any championships. And of course, as we know, he's the king of college football, and will go down right now in my lifetime as the greatest college football coach ever. But she's got 3 national championships, and here's the thing that I've taken, especially the last 2 or 3 days. It's coming from the heart. Man, she got very passionate because this is home, and I believe her when she says she would have not left for any other place with LSU. I had a guy that was telling me about the strawberries and this and that, and she's happy she can have a po' boy and crawfish etouffee and all that, but she is going to do some incredible things, and once again, it all gets to the point of getting over that cloud, which people don't know, but I purposely knocked that sign off. I did it.
By the time football season gets here, you're going to be able to swing golf clubs in here. Because I'm going to have a flat screen right here by football season.
Well, no, but I was just going to say, you see Pride Roofing? Kim Mulkey takes great pride, just like they do, in everything she does, and that's rubbing elbows. Dee Dee Bro has been with her every step of the way, and I think we're going to finally have some good stuff to think about here as we get into the summer months. Always kid, okay? Baseball, if you believe they're going to postseason, then God bless you. They've had a rough go of it. They've got 3 winnable series. They've got to win 2 out of 3 to get to 13. 13, as I said today, is blowing bubbles. You're on the bubble. But they're going to be in the SEC tournament, probably make postseason. But as we know, a lot of rumors about what's going to happen with baseball. And you and I were talking, Woody, we were waiting for the first big spear in the ground to show people that he means business and going to do some great things. Well, guess what now? It's going to be interesting if, and of course I still have the T-shirt because chicks do still dig the long ball. And so, look, I didn't touch it that time.
No, go ahead.
All right. Hey, speaking of baseball, that's what's been happening.
I'll tell you what I wanted to talk about is earlier today, Moon Urson, of course, Baylor guard, originally from Destrehan, she tweeted out, "Don't stress, Moon. God got it." So she's obviously weighing over her decision. I know they had to pull some. I don't want to say pull some strings, but I know there's some things they really had to jump through some hoops to, because she's already graduated. And something about nursing school. They had to do a lot to get that set up for her in order to get the free year of COVID to come back. Mm-hmm. So we're going to see how that plays out for her. But they're excited about their new coach from the WNBA, and so I wonder, we were kind of thinking maybe what would be the over and under of how many Baylor transfers we might see. Was it 3, 4? Might it only be 2?
Well, it's going to happen, and Will Wade this is a great thing when you bring a great coach in. Everybody believes in that team philosophy. If you notice, all the coaches, now Coach O, she had a nice reception with him, and Will Wade's there with the good-looking jacket and all that. I guess it just raises the standards, and everybody knows this is a Hall of Fame coach, and how about that? Couple of weeks, Michael Jordan inducting you into the Hall of Fame. That's got to be something special to be looking forward to. But I think it's going to actually kick it up a notch or 2 for everybody in the program. And look, with the thing with Finley, this was pretty much, I teased you and Blake about this and that, but this was pretty much a given. Most people thought that after the spring, and here's my quick take on it, TJ Finley in the South Carolina game showed he's good enough to play at this level. But the problem is that he didn't have the C. He didn't have the consistency. And I had somebody send me a pic of Coach O when he had that stern face. You got to have ball security. And you can't fumble and have it picked up for 6. And you can't throw a pick 6. So, unfortunately, ball security, not consistent enough with completion percentage, and, of course, all the other things that happened. But, look, he showed he's good enough in the Carolina game. But as we know now, LSU at 3 quarterbacks, and you're not worried. As long as they stay healthy, they'll be all right. Walker Howard's coming in next.
Yeah, in fact, I kind of messed with Walker earlier today. One of my buddies, Blaine Barrio, a classmate, attorney in Lafayette, sent me, where's it at? Sent me my STM Cougars hat, Blaine Barrio Law Firm, and I was wearing it earlier today to go to the grocery store after I did your show.
Yeah.
And I sent Walker the picture, and he goes, "Oh, yeah, Cougars representing." I said, "Should I wear that to when I go to visit Catholic High's practice soon?" And he goes, "You better," because of course him and Emory Jones are real tight. So I think they've had fun with that series, and unfortunately, it's not going to continue. I would have liked to have seen that again. That's been one of the best 2 games I've seen in years in high school football. But yeah, it's speaking of that, by the way, y'all need to go to TigerBait.com. Absolutely loaded with recruiting content. I've been on the road. The Quincy Wiggins from Madison Prep today. When you see the workout, I've got 5 minutes of exclusive video I shot of him Monday afternoon. 6'6", 270 pounds, a beast, raw. The amount of untapped ceiling on this young man is through the roof. Class of 2022. In fact, after practice ended, first of all, I go to a lot of practices. I don't think anybody outworks Madison Prep. They work.
Very impressive. And by the way, this Wiggins kid has guns comparable to you.
Yeah, great coaches out there. Love being out there. They welcomed me, and I loved it. Yeah, they were out there working. Didn't have their helmets back. You got to send your helmets off every year to get them certified. I didn't even know the ins and outs on that. Now I do, and what a scam that is. But anyways, they're out there working, and they do 2 hours. It was about 90 degrees. And then after they do a full practice, they went in the weight room to lift weights. So, but anyways.
Is it fair to say he's raw? I mean,
yeah.
He's raw, but folks, this could be
athletic.
A really, really good football player, I'm going to say in 2 years.
He's a self-starter. He's very intelligent. He coaches up his teammates, a leader, well-spoken. I mean, he's off the charts for me. And I sent him a bunch of pictures. If you check his Twitter feed, I gave him a batch of pictures that he posted. Go check out some of those. But yeah, no, Quincy is just something else. And I think, so anyways, between practice and them going to the weight room, I did my interview. And I was waiting because he was getting a call from LSU. I guess they were wanting to patch him through to talk to Ed Orgeron. So LSU is certainly have offered, and he's got a lot of schools after him. But and we talked about that in our interview. So go to TigerBait, check that out. I got both Jaden and Austin Osbury interviews. Ricky Collins from Woodlawn, the quarterback, looks fantastic. He's starting to pile up offers. He's going to be at LSU camp next month. Got a full interview with him. And I got more. So Vessel, the cornerback for 23 at U-High, and a lot more coming at TigerBait. So we're absolutely loaded right now. Go to TigerBait, subscribe, and like I say, choose the annual package. It saves you basically you're getting 3 months for free when you do that. And so, but yeah, the Finley news, as soon as that broke, I put a new poll up on the website, and I said, and I'm gonna read it to you. I said, these were the 3 answers. I said, how worried are you about TJ Finley's departure from LSU? A lot. Is it sitting at 3%? Not at all. Is sitting at 79, and somewhat at 18. So it looks like the majority of registered users who've so far voted in the poll say that they're about 80% saying it doesn't faze them. Not at all, it doesn't. But look, if Miles Brennan's healthy, Garrett Nussmeier continues to develop, and then you get Walker Howard at midterm, I think they'll be fine at quarterback. But I hope TJ Finley finds a great landing spot. I hope he has a great career like other former LSU quarterbacks that went on to do nice things. Lester Ricard, McMillan, and so on. And I'm probably forgetting several.
Well, and look, this was pretty much predictable after the spring game. You saw the stuff. I think Max is right there with Miles. Miles, everybody had Joe Burrow-like numbers first 3 games and got hurt. Max won the last 2 games. And Nussmeier's a little pistol. That's a coach's son. Got to get bigger and stronger, and he'll pick that up. He'll be a sponge and soak up everything. If you don't have injuries, then you're okay with 3. Now they'll probably bring a couple preferred walk-ons on in the fall for Camp Arms, and so it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope we have some access in fall camp, man, to see the running back situation develop, safety situation, tight end, and now one less quarterback in the mix. Which, Mike, when you think about it in the reps in fall, it was predictable. Max and Miles will get the majority of the big reps with the ones, and Nussmeier will be your scout team guy. And if one of the
they've got a walk-on or 2 out there as well. So Dane Bergeron says, "Hey guys, welcome back, buddy. Let me fly through some of these early.
Yeah, let's go.
We're 15 minutes in. I hadn't done any questions. Buddies in the house, Brian Abady. Hey guys, hope y'all are having a good evening. What are LSU's chance of getting Branson Robinson? The kid looks like the second coming of Herschel Walker. I know as far as running backs to be following right now are for 2022, and that's Le'Veon Moss at Estruma. I thought I would have been out there to see them, but of course they had a tragic death in their program early last week, and they're pretty shook up over there. Our thoughts and prayers are with them in the Estruma family. So I think they might be delaying. The LHSAA gives schools the option to either have a true spring practice, or they can take an extra, I don't know, maybe is it a dozen, maybe 10 practices in late July, so they basically get a longer fall camp. I was talking to Andy Martin about that at U High on Friday, and he prefers to have the spring. But I know there's some other coaches, depending on how many newcomers they have, might choose to. I know Ascension Catholic in Donaldsonville, I'm wanting to see Jamon Tapp. I believe they're taking the July extra day, so it depends on the program. So, but no, I'm looking at Le'Veon Moss and Citizen at Lake Charles Prep, and of course HN's out there. But I think it sure looks like it's trending Moss and Citizen for LSU's 2 backs. And the way it's trending in the next several years, I don't know where LSU's going to need to go out of state.
Well, that's what I was going to tell you. Now, you got Emory and TDP coming back, and both of them were banged up a little bit, but Tyron Davis-Price and Emory, one of those 2, going to go in, probably taking the first snaps. As we know, Trey Bradford's been off and on injured. Probably not as big in between the tackles runner, but can catch the football. Josh Williams, a walk-on who earned a scholarship last year. And then the 2 guys coming in, as you know, you're very high on both those guys. One from Ohio and one from Alabama, and they both can run and do it all. So that's 6 right there. And so you bring in 2 more. LSU there's going to be some attrition at running back, but it'll look appreciably better than it did in the spring game. I wish I could be as thin as LSU was at running back for the spring game.
By the way, we've got a big crowd in here. I think we went over a 150 at some point a little while ago live at one time. So thanks to you guys for tuning in tonight. Again, please hit the like and share button, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. Very much appreciative. Dane Bergeron, any truth to the Maneri retiring rumors? If so, who are the leading candidates to replace him? Of course, Dane's a subscriber to TigerBait, and I kind of teased them in a thread this weekend with a photo of the coach from Florida and those rumors. And I mean, look, this isn't any secret. It's been it's all over town. It's all over every show and message board. Lots of rumors out there about trying to Coach Maneri having neck problems, eye problems, not having a good time, maybe reaching a settlement because he is owed through what, 2023 or 4?
24, yeah. He's got 3 more years.
Yeah, 3 more years after this year. So you'd have to come to a settlement there. But then who do you get? And it's there. Do you go young or do you go established?
Well, I will say this, and it's been interesting, and with the Zoom, and there's so many Zoom interviews, and then the behavior in the dugout. And even today, he was, the last couple of days, he was quoted about being a tough year. Now you got Travinsky out for the year, Jaden Hill out for the year, Matthew Beck just got a hit because he can't pitch. I mean, every little thing that could happen, that could go wrong, has basically happened this year. And look, Paul Mainieri is a class act, and everybody wants to treat him with class, and he deserves not to be spit on and all the derogatory stuff that happens at the end of a tenure. And we've seen it.
Yeah.
We've seen it with Mike Archer. We've seen it with Plenty. We've seen it with DiNardo. We've seen it with a lot of them. That being said, I think it's just safe to say it's time. It's time to move on. Remember Nick Saban said that. And no disrespect to him, but he listen, it's a young man's game. He's 63. He's been there 15 years. So real quick, we've been told for months that Kevin O'Sullivan, would talk and is interested. You got the guy at Tennessee who's a recruiter and a fiery guy. You got the guy at Louisville. You got Schlossnagle at TCU. You got others. I think the real key for Scott Woodward is going to be timing, because a lot of those coaches are going to be in postseason now.
And if we go by Woodward's track record at all of his stops as athletics director, what is his MO on who he prefers to hire? He's not a flavor of the month guy.
No.
He's an established guy.
Yeah. Well, my point is,
who established can you get that you like, and do you see that where they're at? Are they trending downward, or are they still cream of the crop?
But the point I was making, Mike, is this: you can't have a guy who's tired and worn out and whiny and oh pitiful me. You got to have a young guy full of P&V going out there to beat the bushes, because you know what, folks? LSU baseball is not the mecca of the state anymore, and they've got 4 big-time pitchers leaving to go to Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Texas A&M, Louisiana Tech, and that's just that can't happen.
And remember years ago how the rest of the SEC would always say LSU had an unfair advantage because of Topps.
Yeah,
Topps is nothing compared to the program that Vanderbilt's got, with them being able to go out and give full scholarships to minorities that fully paid for 100%.
So anyway, to answer Dane's question, I think we would both, if there was a window in Vegas, and does Mainieri back for 2022, or is it this is last year, I would pull a lever with last year.
Well, I think this, and you know it, and I was kind of getting after, and I enjoy eating crow. I enjoyed it with Orgeron, but I'll be getting after Woodward for months, saying, when's he going to have something on a docket to show, I'm here and I'm doing something. And boy, he knocked it out of the park with Kim Mulkey. And so what might happen here? Is he going to do another one? So, but look, it's a shot in the arm, the Mulkey thing, because it's had a lot of negativity, the USA Today stuff, et cetera. But so you get Mulkey, then you get 100% capacity in stadiums, all in a week's time. So, hopefully the continued good news continues to roll. Brian and Andy Pinton, good evening, Mike. From West Texas, go Tigers. Glad to have you guys with us. What do you think about Finley in the portal? I know we got that earlier, and you asked that at 8:07. We talked about that a pretty good bit. Let's see. Logan Smith mentioned the same guys you did, buddy. Candidates from Louisville, USC, Florida. Lonnie Young, good evening. Tony Williams, what's up, Mike? Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Lonnie. Jared James Smith, Monster Recruiting coming soon. Yeah. Craig Duncan, I think the rumors of PM is in fact rumors. I won't believe it until I see it. And Craig, there was a lot of people were saying that 2 weeks ago when I was doing a lot of Mulkey coverage. So,
well, here's the deal. He's got 3 years left, and he's making 1.13 or 1.4, whatever it is, and all the other perks. And so we're just going to disagree, and I think that I have it on, the people that I talk to that I believe, and you've heard it and all that, and I just think that they want to do it in a classy way, and
which is hard. It's hard to do.
It is hard, and it's never easy.
They never end right.
It's never easy to have a divorce, okay? Regardless, with these coaches, it's never easy.
I mean, seriously, in the history of football coaching or any sport, name the coaches that went out on top the way they wanted to.
Yeah, very few.
It just.
One of my listeners, I think the best thing, and of course Tracy's been with me for many, many years. She lives in Arkansas, follows me around everywhere, and I thought she phrased it perfectly this year. Paul Maneri has been disengaged, and you've got to be fiery, you've got to be positive, you've got to be free. You can't act like you're in pain. You got to get these kids to realize that baseball is a game of failure. 1 out of 3 and you're a star. Baseball is a game out of failure. And right now, they're just not getting the right messages. Nolan Cain is not recruited as well as the numbers have been. And unfortunately, as much as I respect Alan Dunn, arm injuries and a lack of a development of a bullpen for the last 3-4 years, it's time to move on, folks.
I thought Les Miles might have went out halfway decent when he beat A&M. And then Joe Oliva crapped his diaper at 10:30 that Saturday night. So,
but that was politically motivated as well.
It was awful.
Yeah.
It was awful. Bayou Prep. This is Coach Ross from Madison. We appreciate you coming out. I am glad being out there, Coach Ross, and enjoy being out there. Great group of kids. Y'all are good staff over there, and I see why y'all win state championships. Let's see what else.
By the way, other news to give you folks, LSU women's softball and LSU baseball. Mike, I don't know if I've ever seen this in the same year. They both have the #1 strength of schedule. They also both have some really good RPIs. Believe it or not, LSU baseball RPI is 24. LSU softball is 4. But can you imagine? Softball and baseball have played the toughest schedule to date. I've never seen that before. Can Beth Torina and the Lady Tigers get to OKC? Iffy. Do you think, I'll ask you right off, does LSU make postseason this year in baseball?
No.
No? I think it's a hit and miss right now. I say 50-50.
But would you say the schedule probably could help them?
Absolutely.
I mean, they're through, you know.
They've got to win 7 or 8 games here in the next.
But we're talking about the ending. Of course, Saturday we get word that Mulkey's going to throw out the first pitch. Some of me be saying, okay, who do I know is going to be there, and who's got good seats, who's got a decent cell phone. And I reached out to one of my subscribers. I'm not going to say his name. And so I said, hey, man, do me a favor. Get there and get your camera. Turn your iPhone sideways. I don't want any portrait view. Get me a good shot of Mulkey waving and all that, and I'll give you my, send it to me. And he says, Mike, I went last night, and I left there so mad, I'm not going back until he's gone.
Yeah.
And this is a guy who's been a season ticket holder since the late 80s. Member of the, what's the bullpen? What do you call the club for baseball?
Coons Corner was over in right field.
No, but the one that, has the luncheons and you pay a fee.
Coaches Committee.
Coaches Committee, all that stuff. Omaha trips, the works.
Yeah.
Spent a fortune. Yeah, he's done. He's done.
Yeah. By the way, they did win the game where she threw out the first pitch, but I thought it should be Friday night, the first game of the weekend series against Arkansas, but she had to go back to Waco and take care of business. She went back to Waco today or tomorrow, and then she's, it's going to be a back and forth until she gets solid over here, sells her house and buys the new house over here. But let me tell you what, folks, she is going to have a major impact on the whole athletic department. And talking about positive, don't forget, you got to resell some of these season ticket holders in football. I know they have a March deadline, but trust me, they not up to the 70,000 season tickets that they used to have. It's going to be interesting to see when that number comes out. What is going to be?
I mean, we keep going back to Mulkey because she's just lightning in a bottle. But what is going to be the demand for her? I'm talking about Rotary clubs, Kiwanis clubs, Chamber of Commerce's. I mean, she's and she's got the energy. I mean, no one's going to call her a low energy Mulkey. I mean. I was talking to several coaches on this running around, and they're like, man, I'm like, if you want somebody to come talk to your team, she may be right there with Orgeron as somebody that makes you want to run through a wall when she starts giving her speech. So
she's got a couple more skins than Coach O right now. So
yeah, Blaine Smith, Coach Ross is a great coach. Yeah. By the way, go check my Twitter feed at Scarborough Mike. And there's a funny video where I recorded the the coaches at Madison arguing over needing an extra bit of time to do some defensive line drills. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I've been looking at the site a lot and enjoying a bunch of it. And of course, you know, to get the total package at one site is really great value.
Dale Goodrich, Jim Milano, it should have been after the A&M game.
Yeah, and if you remember, Joe Oliva really had the screaming RA when he had to belly up to the microphone. And that was a combination of F. King Alexander and Bobby Jindal and all the other talking heads. And look, as we know, politics is always going to have a place at LSU.
And that was my whole argument. And I got into it with a couple of New Orleans media guys, and it's, you know, they look it. And I'll tell you one thing about that stretch too. And I don't care what anybody says. I believe that whole Les Miles fiasco in 2015 was split along gender lines. The LSU women fan base didn't want anything to happen to Les Miles. They wanted him back. And it was the men who wanted him gone like last week. And, you know, and all the crying, Les's last game, the Gridiron Club or Capillary Tigers, whatever, on the Friday, and all the leaks that came out of that thing. And then so you hold on to him for 4 extra games. And so it just makes it a waste of time. So that, and I'm not, look, that's my point with Paul. If you hold on and say, well, look what he's going to have coming back, what kind of excitement can you have in the offseason of people looking forward to baseball season if you don't have a change?
Well, that's the whole key. And unfortunately, his crystal ball, you know how we've knocked this sign down a couple times?
Yes.
He's dropped his crystal ball about 10 times. I can start off going from the Bo Hampton deal at center field, Helmer's at third base, Safford at center field hitting second, Zach Arnold at second base, not playing Travinsky at the right time. I mean, all the moves that he's made and the pitching. Go look back at the previous TigerBait Facebook we did 6 weeks ago. And what did we both say? The propensity to make the wrong decision with pitchers. I said he should listen to Alan Dunn more. I don't know if Alan Dunn could have done better. But when you are in a 2-run game against the number 1 team and you bring in a couple pitchers that nobody's hardly seen all year, I mean, it's the white flag from the fans. And I know the Chris Giotts and the Knuckleheads and the Birdmans are still there, and they're going to be loyal until he's there. But it's not a good product, and LSU right now, being nice, is about number 6 in the SEC as a baseball team and program right now.
Yeah. Mark Chambers says, good show, guys. By the way, I want to talk about Pride Roofing. Much thanks to them being the official roofing company of TigerBait. Fantastic guys. Of course, Mike Faraday, I grew up with him. He's an LSU grad, a Broadmoor High School grad, and fantastic company. A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. If you're anywhere from Sulphur to Gulf Shores, Alabama, to Foley, Alabama, Gulfport, they've got a new office, Gulf Shores, Mobile. Of course, the main office in Albany, real big on the North Shore, Covington, Mandeville, Madisonville. If you've had any hail damage, if you're on the tail end of the lifespan of your roof, have them come out. Take advantage of the free roof inspection. And if you say you saw it on TigerBait, they're going to give you TigerBait Premium for a year, and they're paying for it. So you can't beat it. It's free and free. And if you're in a bid situation, they're going to give a bid. One of your guys and one of my guys, they beat the price, and just fantastic. Best labor warranty on their roof. All licensed contracting, insured, bonded, the works. And I've seen equipment in there. He was showing me a machine when I was there, over $100,000 machine that extrudes equipment. It's phenomenal the work that they do. They make their own flashing. You put a ladder up against that on your roof, and it's going to put a dent in your ladder. It's none of that builder grade stuff that a lot of roofing companies use. And another big thing with them, they've got enough shingles in that yard. I'm told it's approaching 200 roofs right now. And so if your insurance company gives you the go-ahead, and by the way, it's commercial as well, any type of roof, metal roofing, they've got you covered, commercial or residential. But if you're a residential house and say, I don't know what you'd have under roof, but a normal middle-class home, 2,500 square feet, and your insurance company gives you the go-ahead, or if you're paying cash, they can have you a new roof and scheduled within 2 weeks. And whereas other roofing companies, they're probably going to tell you a couple of months because there's that much demand for shingles, and Pride Roofing had the wherewithal to go out and pre-order and carry the stock, so you're never waiting. So Pride Roofing, can't say enough about them. Give them a call, 275-2041, 225-275-2041, and very much thanks to Mike and Alex.
A job well done is a job done with pride. I'm impressed. You have memorized that phone number. You didn't even look at that sign.
I cheated.
Oh, you cheated?
I'm looking at the screen.
Well, I have a Pride Roofing little trivia tidbit for you. LSU has had 21 football players drafted in the last 2 NFL drafts. And LSU takes great pride in the fact that that's more than anybody in the country. Now, granted, Alabama had 6 in the first round and tied Miami, who had 6 in the first round in 2004. But you saw the drop-off that LSU had when they had 5 in the first round with Burrow and his class. But the little tidbit from Pride Roofing, LSU takes great pride in putting a number of people. And what do they say? LSU. Interesting little tidbit from you folks over at Pride Roofing. Mike and Alex do a great job, and they are very cost competitive, as we saw with PFM and Tommy, a couple of guys who took advantage of it.
Yeah, and I understand they got a big job in Bro Bridge. I don't, anywhere on I-10, they've got a big job coming up in Bro Bridge that they told me they got through TigerBait. So much thanks to you guys for giving them a call, give them an opportunity, let them bid on it. And what are you out? Say you heard about them on Pride Roofing, and you're going to get a free subscription to TigerBait for a year. Can't beat it. So, and it gives them thanks for sponsoring us and making this show possible. Logan Smith says, talking about football, why don't they let Cole Taylor be the starting tight end? What's missing about him?
Well, right now he's going to be the starting tight end.
Yeah.
But flip the switch. When he flips the switch and he believes in his noggin, he's good enough to play for LSU. He's going to be a pretty good football player. Now, this is an interesting story. Mike and I went out, this was right before COVID, and he was supposed to be wearing 88, and he was 87. I said, oh man, that's got to be Cole Taylor. I like it. He's got a lot of potential, but he's raw. And so he's in the process at an LSU tight end of lifting and getting bigger and stronger and learning how to block. And he's not going to be the receiver that Eric Gilbert potentially could have been, but he's going to be a solid tight end. Nick Storrs, of course, did play in the spring game and is going to be very dependable. They got the kid Jalen Sheed coming in. And as we know, Eric Gilbert, there are a lot of rumors and innuendos that he's trying hard as he can to get the academics and get back to be able to play in 2021. But Cole Taylor right now, if they played UCLA on Saturday night, I think Cole Taylor would probably be the tight end that would start.
Well, I'm pulling for Gilbert. I hope he gets it all together. I've been saying since December that his best opportunity to get back on track and get everything squared away academically, personally, in the football program is at LSU. And I think he's come to realize that. What the hoops are, I don't know, but I'm pulling for him. I hope he gets it done.
I'm superstitious real quick. I just want to interject. Coy Moore grabbed number 2. Of course, Eric Gilbert wore number 2 when he played. And this is just me superstition. And I'm thinking like, okay, if he comes back, I'd give him 81 because, Thad Moss had a pretty darn good year. And how about the Saints? How about the Saints loving Ohio State players? But Cleveland now has Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, obviously Moss, and of course.
So Cincinnati's LSU and the Patriots are Alabama and the Saints are Ohio State.
And Cleveland's got a bunch of LSU, but let's not forget Tyler Shelvin is going to get a chance to play with Burrow. So you got a quartet that played on the 2019 LSU championship team, and the Brownies have a bunch. So that's going to be interesting.
I knew they were going to take Chase, and sure enough, they got a good offensive lineman in the next round. I think that was the right call.
He's a difference maker.
I watched Cincinnati every game until Burrow got hurt, and then I wanted to throw up when he went down.
Yeah.
And he did not have a deep threat.
No.
He did not. And that was missing for him.
Yeah.
And
I think they're going to be much better.
Now he's got one. Now we just wait to see. We see the big scar on his knee. We need to wait to see if. But that's the thing about Joe is, we'd be there for Monday for player interviews, and I would just, because he come in shorts, and you look at the bruises on him. Mm-hmm. He's a tough kid, and everybody in the program on the off to the side would say that's the toughest kid we've ever had in this program.
Yeah.
So we're going to see if he heals, and he's a lot of kids players get depressed, they get hurt, and it was water off a duck's back for him. I think he just attacks any situation.
Well, and he explained a few more reasons about why he opted out, and bottom line is that as media and as fans, we just expect the guy to show up on Saturday night and play balls to the wall and have no problems. But it doesn't work that way. He might knock up his girlfriend. His mom and daddy might get a divorce. He might have got his car stolen. All these things that happen, and yet we expect him to throw that to the side and perform on Saturday night. So, and that's one of the things why we're kind of fired up a little bit. Yes, there are a lot of allegations. There's a lot of black clouds, but I think we're going to potentially have a good second half of the year, Mike.
Yeah. What else do we need to talk about tonight? Well, a little more football recruiting. Did you watch Ricky Collins, the film on him?
I watched a little film on Ricky Collins, but quite frankly, with the LSU quarterback room, I don't know if he'll be in the mix. As we said, with
for 23 though.
Yeah, I know, but Walker Howard, look, you literally could have all of these quarterbacks back again the following year. Max, Miles, Nussmeier, and then Howard joins them. You could have that four, and then, as we know, Miles will probably move on. But by the way, on your poll.
So now with Finley gone, because that was some of the debate, is 22 a one quarterback class or a two? And then I think June camp at LSU is going to have something to say about that. But, already you've got Arch Manning, and of course,
Holstein.
Eli Holstein at Zachary. Ricky Collins, who I like at Woodlawn, is going to camp at LSU. Doesn't have an offer yet. A lot of people are curious about Reese Mooney at Denham Springs. How might he get bigger and stronger? He's a guy to watch. There might be another quarterback or two that surfaces for 23. So June is going to be a real big month. So if this is a one quarterback class, and you're going to have attrition, you're going to have quarterbacks that transfer, and if Pete's offense is as good as we think we hope it can be and think it will be, you just want to have a steady pipeline and continue this good run of years of quarterbacks coming into the program.
Yeah, a couple of other big topics. Most of you know about the NIL, name, image, and license. That is getting closer and closer. Joe Burrow, I remember when he was interviewed about this, and he said it's not going to happen on my watch, but I think players should make money, and it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. Alabama, just the legislatures, everybody's got to get their act together from a political standpoint so that LSU players can stay competitive. Then you have the transfer portal, Mike, and this is going to be interesting. Now, we're just getting through the academic thing here on May, and so we saw it happen with TJ. I said today it wouldn't shock me to see another 4 or 5 players. Not that we have any names to throw out there with conjecture, but it's going to happen. If they realize they're third on the depth chart and have been here 2 or 3 years and all the guys coming in, you're going to have some more attrition.
Well, I just wonder, you and I talked about it on your show today, you're going to see some guys and it's going to seem like it's big numbers or it's happened a little bit too more often than you think it is. But at the same time, LSU is going to be in that system as well.
Sure.
But the other point you brought up today is we're still waiting on that 8 self-imposed sanctions. Our school is going to be able to be more active than LSU, which is essentially the free agency of college football.
Yeah.
Are they going to be able to? They're going to be able to be more active than LSU because of, Of course, the years on that's going to end. They self-imposed it last year. Mm-hmm. So. But they don't know if the NCAA is going to accept that.
All right, and they won't get to 85 anytime soon with that hanging over their head. Also, tidbit, LSU president, I want to say going to be They've been interviewing. They may name it Friday. Or,
Who's the finalist?
Is
Darden still
James,
in there?
Huh?
Is Darden still?
No, Darden's out. Henderson and Tate and some other guys. I hadn't kept up with it too much.
We had the rumors a week or two ago that they were trying to get Emmert to come back. Did you buy into that?
Well, no, he re-upped with the NCAA. He got an extension with the NCAA.
Oh, so he was using maybe he was using LSU like Les Miles used Arkansas and Paul Maneri used Texas.
Well, I guess the whole point of the discussion is that we are in a flux, and none of us really know how all of this is going to play out. Look, Alabama's going to find a way to get 31 players over there, whether it's a blue shirt or a red shirt or gray shirt or whatever. LSU is going to be very, very viable and all that. We know Will Wade's doing a great job rebuilding basketball, so you got to stay awake with all this stuff going on. But this NIL now, you want the state of Louisiana, and I've already been told that LSU's got companies that are going to help with this transition. But the last thing we want to see is that Florida and Bama and Georgia has all their ducks in a row, and these players are going, oh, yeah, I could go over there. And during the recruiting, this is something you're going to be talking to these kids about in the next couple of years. Are you going to be able to make more money on your name, image, and likeness going to Georgia or Florida or Alabama versus LSU? Interesting to see how that's going to play out in the next couple of years.
And look, LSU has had some very marketable kids come through the program. I mean, think what the money Leonard Fournette could have made when he first got here. Honey Badger.
Burrow for sure.
But just think back in time.
And of course, Derek Stingley this year, who, by the way, seems to be the apparent heavy favorite to wear number 7.
It's not just the quarterback. I think Zach Von Rosenberg, with his personality and his story, he could have made a good bit of money.
Kudos to Zach. He got signed with an undrafted free agent deal with the Minnesota Vikings this week.
Okay, yeah. Good stuff. Carl Dunn, Carl the Cat. He says LSU needs at least one sweep in the next 3 series.
Well, I'm going to say this, Carl the Cat. You're one of the top 400 LSU baseball fans in this town. Look, there are 4,000 that go in almost every night, so that's a pretty much of an honor, and I like to mess with Carl the Cat.
I tell you what, I don't know if Coach Ross is still in on the show or any of the other Madison Prep coaches, but if so, maybe you can answer this question for us. Brian Madeir, where will Major Burns end up? I know there was talk maybe he might end up at Kentucky with Joel Williams, Texas A&M, who recruited him very hard before he pulled back after LSU offered. I tend to think that if LSU's probably in a situation where, because they're going to have 2 true freshmen coming in June at the safety spot, you're in the middle of your class of 2022. Of course, Major was a freshman, so he has 4 years. He's getting a free transfer. I don't know that you go there, because then it might hurt you not only morale-wise with the 2 guys. They didn't, they're going to account for you recruiting next year, but not would bring us another one at the same time they're walking in the door.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't see it making sense for LSU, but we'll see how it happens.
Hey, real quick, I just want to add, Elliott Porter, you remember him? He was a center. He committed to LSU. They kind of processed him and did not have a spot for him. He played 1 year at Kentucky, and he came back, and he ended up being a starting center at LSU for a couple of years. I don't think that's going to happen with Major Burns, but a lot of times there's a bad taste in their mouth after what happened the first time. And as you alluded to, we got to mention Derek Davis Jr. had a pretty darn good spring as well, who's the 3rd safety in that class. And Carl, check your kitchen closet if you have a broom available. That might be the only sweeping you see in the next 3 weekends. They may sweep somebody, but right now I think 2 out of 3 is a lot more viable.
Reed Wilson, please don't throw that jinky number 7 on another star. Let these kids make their own path.
On Stingley?
Yeah, I'm not sure, yeah.
Well, generally speaking, what Jamar Chase was going to be number 7. He opted out. They gave it to Jacoby Stevens. Look, there's no doubt. We all know that the wide receiver that came over in the transfer portal from Texas Tech was probably the worst choice ever. But, you know, a lot of people have superstitions. My buddy PFM, who follows all the shows and yours and mine religiously, he thinks the 18 is bad luck. But I'll say it right now. Derek Stingley, this is his money year, and I think him and Eli Ricks and Dwight McLaughlin and Jay Ward and a lot of other guys, I can't wait to see Devontae in that secondary.
I think they all had great springs.
I think they're going to be great this year.
Kenny Haynes, LSU has to not only sweep one of the last three, they have to win every series and beat Louisiana Tech, period.
Yeah, but I mean, is it going to really make a difference if you win 13 or 14 in the conference? You still got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. You know, as far as the 7s and 18s, I'm of the opinion if a guy doesn't fit the bill or the criteria, I mean, make the criteria high. Make it super high. If you have to go a year or two without awarding it, don't give it.
Well, you know, the last thing they've done the last couple of years is they've given one on offense and one on defense to 18. And so, look, it's a tradition. They give the 8. Matthew Beck got the 8, and I'm not sure who that was, but it does seem to have.
Well, that's our buddy Kenny,
Kenny,
the unofficial official attorney of TigerBait.com.
Well, let me tell you what. I see Kenny all the time.
Shark.
He does a great job. But it does seem like in recent memory, the 7s and the 18s have had some bad luck.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got here.
We got to go another 10 minutes, folks. I'm not letting him get out of here under an hour. You know, I've got a contract to get to an hour and 1 minute tonight, so keep firing them away.
With Cade York going into his junior season, does LSU have their eyes on another kicker? I don't have a name on that yet, but what I do know is what we've seen over the years is LSU will have a kicking camp, and I know they'll pay attention to what the national kicking guy,
Saylor.
Chris Saylor, his group, and I think Saylor even comes to the camp, and LSU's had a long success. I mean, when was the last time LSU had a bad kicking and punter situation?
You know, it's interesting that you bring that up, and we talk about it because
Ronnie Lewis?
I'll just say this. The 57-yarder in the fog might have been the most important play of the whole season. Now, I guess you could also throw in the shoe thrower from Florida, who, by the way, got picked in the 4th round, and we'll never forget that thing that he did.
Between him and the Mississippi State player that lifted his leg.
Or it
was the old
Elijah Moore, yeah. But my point is that, man, LSU fans have been spoiled, and I gotta tell you, Cade York to me is going to go down as the most ballyhooed 4-year kicker at LSU. David Browndyke did not miss a kick. He went 14-0 many years ago. There were some, Juan Roque and others, who missed and gave the finger, and Ronnie Lewis, like you alluded to. But LSU fans are spoiled with kickers, and I'm sure they'll bring somebody in. I know you're excited.
I think I have a T-shirt in a box somewhere, Corbello for the Heisman.
Yeah, they did. They did that. I think that was his buddy who did that as a joke, and it kind of ran wild. But look, I know you're very high on Peyton Todd, and we wish Zach Van Rosenberg the best. It makes the Vikings. But Peyton Todd, I think you and I are both excited about his potential as a new punter this year.
Basketball recruiting news is what Brian Vernil, forgive me if I'm butchering the last name. I don't have anything, but I think I'm going to have something tomorrow on TigerBait. Just waiting on a call. So,
and look, you know, we talk about getting your fingernails dirty and grinding and scrapping and waking up at 5 in the morning and working till midnight. And I don't know if Will Wade does that, but it certainly seemed like he leaves no stone unturned. And bringing in the combo guard from Missouri, I like the potential of this 6'8" kid, Dave Mason, they brought in. I think we saw Josh Gray getting in the transfer portal today. There's going to be a couple more players. Some people think he's in with the 5-star on the big. It's LSU and Florida State. Another guy is talking about this guy coming over from UMass. I mean, trust me, there will be, and Kim Mulkey will do the same thing. Your basketball teams are going to be really good this next coming year.
I think Will Wade is enjoying Kim Mulkey right now. I think he sees And I said that on the show several weeks ago. I think he just gets to sit back and let her be the whirlwind, and because if she wants something new and this and that, because it's all basketball, it affects him, you know. So,
but here's the other thing, Mike. He's going to kick it up a notch because he didn't want her to embarrass him. So I think it's great for basketball fans.
Yeah. I mean, look what it did at Baylor.
Yeah.
I mean,
they just want to win men's championship. That probably doesn't happen if Kim Mulkey in there to make Scott Drew.
Yeah, I mean, last thing you want
as good as he can be.
If you're the men's team, you don't want the women's team out drawing you.
Yeah.
Be like Pete Maravich with the freshman team.
Yes, that's right.
Let's see. What about Musa Cisse? I haven't heard anything on that.
I'm not buying that.
Yeah.
I've had one guy tell me he's going to the G League, and another guy telling me that. And look, I saw a little bit of Memphis this year, and he was very raw. But as you know, that was the commit and the player that everybody really
Dick
got
Vitale,
the screaming Reds about. Dick
Vitale did your Musa Cisse in.
Yeah.
Mo Funky Danu. Been a fan of LSU since the Kenny Farrow offensive line coaching days. What are your opinions of Coach Craig's ability to recruit and develop linemen? Do you think Kevin Mawe ever comes back to coach at LSU? I think Coach Craig has done a pretty darn good job. I always seem to be giving him mulligans, but unfortunately for him, while this state produces a lot of great wide receivers and defensive backs, athletes, they haven't had a run of offensive linemen, and now they do. So, look, not only that, he's got the kids who opted to come back and take a free year, so he's got a very veteran offensive line group. I know they're excited about Anthony Bradford's progress. Still not hearing a lot of positive things about Cardell making a move. I think I heard some decent things about Thomas Perry. So, but in this class, for the class of 2022, Emory Jones, of course, is still out there. You add him into the fold with Will Campbell and Bo Bordelon. You got the Taylor kid from Mobile that's already committed. So look, it's could be a class of 6, and I don't think it's going to be either number 1, number 2, or number 3 in the country in recruiting class rankings. And like someone said to me yesterday, if that happens, that'll be 3 straight years of having top 3 or 4 ranked recruiting classes. So I think LSU is going to bounce back in a big way. They're going to have a big recruiting year. So a lot of positive things.
Going way back with Kenny Farrell as the offensive line coach. Kevin Mawai, I've got a pretty good relationship with Kevin and had him on when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame. And, of course, now that honor is going to happen with Alan Faneca real soon, later on in the year. And as we know, Andrew Whitworth is going to be, as soon as he gets eligible, will be a first ballot offensive line into the Hall of Fame. So LSU here in a short proximity of time is going to have 3 in the Hall of Fame as offensive linemen. I don't know, Kevin Mawai was an analyst with Arizona State, but now he did get a gig in the pros, and I just don't know if
just because you're a Hall of Fame player don't mean you're going to be a Hall of Fame coach.
Well, but look, Coach O, James Craig is his boy. James Craig is his guy, and I think that he's going to get a couple more years. I think he just got a raise to about $600 a year. So I think if you're waiting for James Craig to be gone, I would probably dispute that for the next couple of years.
Kenny Russell, do you see Will Campbell from Neville playing offensive tackle for us in the future or moving inside? I see him as a tackle. He can move. He's big. Saw him against Karen Crow in the playoffs. Wasn't a very close game, but they didn't get past him.
I was very impressed. And see, this is the beautiful thing about being on your site, and that is you get to see what that kid looks like at 16 and then 17 and then what he looks like when he shows up at LSU with all the photos and the pics and then what that man grows into. I like him a lot.
I laugh because it was at Karen Crow, and I went live in pregame warm-ups. I think maybe I did like 7 or 8 minutes. I mean, that video went crazy. And it was just him rolling around on the ground, stretching, lifting his knees up, jumping jacks. And, I mean, people went crazy for that video. Because you were seeing a kid at 6'6", 6'7", with a size 19 shoe or whatever. move the way he did, and very spry. I mean, no bad weight. I mean, he's a beast. So
no doubt about it, and of course he's tight with Walker Howard, of course, and he's going to probably be protecting his blind side.
And Emory Jones, they're all tight. They're playing video games, and this connected world. They're it's amazing how close these kids can be, yet they're never in the same room together hardly.
Well, look, we talk about it. Coach O finally has the defensive line with the talent and the coach he likes and the depth. I think in a couple of years, people are going to be hoping, because Brian and I and you have been talking about this for years.
And Bo Bordelon's a big recruiter,
well,
too.
But they want to have 10 on offensive line that they can trust. And usually they end up with 8, guy that can play center guard, guy that can play both tackle spots, and a guy that can play more than one spot. We'll see how that develops in fall camp.
Well, you got me over the hour mark.
Give me one more question. I know there's somebody in there.
Jim Milano. Does Stingley return punts this year?
Now, that's an interesting question. Along with Mike, the question was posed to Coach O, was Derek Stingley going to play any offense this year? And, of course, with him learning the new defensive system with Durante Jones, they said, well, let's just concentrate on the defense right now. I got to be honest with you. Derek Stingley has not been nearly the punt returner that I thought he was going to be at LSU. But, man, when you're covering the likes of the players that he covers, and then you got to go back there. Then you got to make a decision to fair catch or return it. And as you know, there's always laundry on the field with flags and penalties. I'll be honest with you. I'd rather see Trey Palmer or somebody else that doesn't do as much. And
I've seen Best return some punts.
Well, but I'm saying the thing of it is that you get hurt, you're losing your best corner, your punt returner, and a guy that's so versatile.
Yeah, I never. It's just, to me, that's always gimmicky. You bring him in, it's like, and then you show him one thing, and it's like they key on him. A lot of times you'll use him as a diversion, or maybe you want to plant the seed and then do something different games later. Seems like it's always the Florida game where either LSU or Florida or both have tricks up their sleeve. Whatever reason over the years, the Florida game is always when the tricks come out. And it's something unique. So
I will predict that Derek Stingley will score a touchdown or two this year, whether that's via INT, pick six, or return. But I think it's an excellent question. Do you have enough depth to put somebody back there? Because let's be honest, LSU's been very mediocre in punt return the last couple of years.
If you think about it, really, when was it where how far do you have to go back to where people were holding their breath if an LSU kick returner caught the ball? LSU really has kind of been conservative in that regard.
No doubt about it.
But but you got all these kickers now that are kicking it in the back of the end zone, so it's kind of moot.
And
so you can have Skylar Green back there all you want. If Avery Atkins is kicking it over his head, well, so what?
Well, it took less 3 years to realize Patrick Peterson was good back there. Of course, Tyrann Mathieu, maybe not the math genius on knowing exactly where the goal line is, but he was phenomenal. And, LSU in the return game has been mediocre. Interesting to see what Coach Mack will do with that this year.
All right, guys. Thank y'all for being with us again. Please do me a favor. Like, share this. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, please. Hit the notification bell. Facebook, do the same. And please go to TigerBait and subscribe. We want to have you a Supreme subscriber. The front page is absolutely loaded with new recruiting content. I got 3 more recruiting stories coming tomorrow. I'm back out on the road. Going to be bringing you more the next few weeks. And then, June's going to be here before you know it. And June for recruiting is going to be off the chain. It's going to be nonstop, around the clock, 7 days a week on TigerBait.com. And we want to have you a part of that, be a part of our online community on our Tiger Den Premium board. A lot of great discussion there. So check us out there. Thanks to Proud Roofing. And we'll be back here next week. And thank you all for being with us tonight. Good night.